Happy Friday. Good afternoon to you. It is Friday, September 12th at 2:31 p.m. I got a bunch to talk about. The biggest thing is I want to talk about the Field of 68 coming to Mackey just, an hour and a half ago, wrapping up their show. I'll touch a little bit on football again right before USC comes to town tomorrow afternoon. And also, I wanted to tell you guys about something that's weighed heavy on me that and how I handled it, and just let you know what I'm thinking. So before I do it, let me thank the people that made my t-shirt, Homefield. Head over to homefieldapparel.com. You can get a shirt like this with the Purdue band script on it. You can get another one with the old basketball script on it. You can get hats. You can get packs. You can get jerseys. You can get anything your heart desires. And also, if you like potatoes, if a squash can make you smile, no. If you like the Fightin' Taters shirt from the University of Idaho that Homefield's been talking about, you got to go get it now because they're closing them out. Like, they're almost gone. The t-shirts are almost gone. They're gone in my size, but they still have some sweatshirts that say Fightin' Taters on them. That's pretty cool. And I know Jay and Anish both talked about getting them. So head over to homefieldapparel.com. Also, when you're on campus and you've just watched Purdue wrap up a victory at Ross-Ade or Mackey, you take we think it's a 5 to 10 minute walk from Victory. Head towards the fire station. When you get to that fire station, turn left. You'll see the blue and black lights of AJ's, and you'll go inside and you're going to find the friendliest staff on campus and some of the best food you can find anywhere. I think I'm going to have cheese curds when I go. But that's what I'm looking forward to. Burgers, beef, beer. That's AJ's. EatAJ's.com. And, of course, on game days, get a pint with a boiled sports magnet in the bottom. I generally don't drink beer, and when I go there, I don't drink beer almost ever. So I'm gonna apologize in advance if I get a little bit of emotional. You guys know my heart's on my sleeve a lot of the time. But this week has been tough. I think it's been tough on a lot of people. If you follow us on Twitter, you saw that yesterday I kind of pulled way back. I didn't kind of pull way. I pulled way back. The news of Charlie Kirk's assassination, the drone strike in Poland, the 9/11 anniversary, and other bad stuff can weigh on us heavily sometimes, or not sometimes. Can weigh on us heavily this week. It's understandable. It got me pretty badly, and I didn't see it coming. Seeing things you're not supposed to see, videos that I didn't intend to see. It hit me hard, and so I stayed off Twitter for the most part yesterday. But I did add some scripture on that because I'd like you guys, if you guys felt like I did, to lean into scripture. And I don't tell you guys what to do very much, but I needed it, and I thought it might help some other people, so that's why I posted it on there. So I didn't know what to say. I said it to a couple people. I talk a lot, and I didn't know what to say, and that's an unusual feeling for me. And I didn't want to botch it. I didn't want to screw anything up. I didn't want to make it light. Didn't want to make it funny. It's not funny. None of this is funny. None of this is good. And there's a lot of things to be stressful about. But the bigger thing that I take peace in is that the battle's already been won. So if you believe what I do, some of you may not. That's okay. But the war's been won, I guess what I'd say. So it's hard to remember that sometimes. But one thing at Boiled Sports that I have always tried to do is I've always tried to be a distraction or a diversion from stuff that you guys hear about all the time in social media, on your YouTube feed, wherever. And you're like me, you're here. You love Purdue sports. So that's really what I'd like to talk about more than anything. Give you something that you don't have to think about work. You don't have to think about the news. You don't have to think about stuff that's stressing you out. You can come here, take it easy, and enjoy the community. And some of you are live. I appreciate you being here. So I just wanted to address that because I thought it was important enough to address, and I didn't know how to address it. That simple. So unlike everybody else on the internet, I don't have all the answers. And I really feel I don't have any answers right now. So, okay. So regarding the football team, kickoff is 3:30 tomorrow versus USC. Going to be it looks like it's going to be a pretty good day, about 80 to 82 at kickoff, and cloudy is what the weather.com said. Nice day. This is by far, I mean, of course, the first two games weren't versus the highest competition, but Purdue playing a really good offense, very, very good offense, a very high-powered offense that is just beating their opponents into powder. It's going to be a major opportunity for Purdue. And the other thing that's going to be weird if you're watching at home on TV is the nature of the television. I think it's on CBS, and it's a pretty big stage. Something Purdue didn't get a ton of. So there's a lot of opportunity to show the nation how much Purdue has improved. Big Ten Network, Dave Revson and Jerry DiNardo admitted Purdue is much, much better than they thought they were. And I don't know if you remember going the Wayback Machine just 3 weeks ago when I talked about BTN, how negative they were. I said if Purdue's as bad as BTN makes you think, they're going to be horrible. And they also said USC looked pretty lousy in their practice. So they may not be paying attention very well, or maybe those teams just don't want to show much. Could be a number of things, or it could be that they've improved that much. I don't think that's the case. I don't think they've improved that much. I think the improvement and the reason Purdue has looked solid so far is the attention to detail by Odom and his staff. They've shown a lot. That's great to see. Can't wait till kickoff at 3:30 for a lot of reasons. But this week, like I said, I just can't wait to a lot of things to pay homage to the 25th anniversary of the Rose Bowl. Is going to be a lot of fun in Ross-Ade, and to just do something fun after a rough week. Even 9/11 for me, it's an important holiday. I was really just looking forward to. Every year I like to watch videos and remember what that day was like. And this year I didn't even know I didn't know how to handle it again. So, rough week, and it'll be fun to have a good time. Hope you have a chance to spend time with your family, enjoy yourself, enjoy your friends. I'm excited about doing just that. Also, if you want to hear a little more Purdue talk and you can't get enough of me making noises with my mouth, go to on the Apple. The funny thing is on Apple Podcasts, and I think it's on any of the podcasts, look up Sports IQ with Larry Smith. I was asked to be on this podcast. Larry is now I think he's the director of sports in Lexington, Kentucky, in the Lexington affiliate, but he's a former CNN and Turner guy, and he talked to me about what I thought about the Purdue football season. I think you'll see a more sober version of me in regarding Purdue football, not quite as loose. I didn't want to give any bulletin board material at all, just because I didn't know how well this thing would be distributed. It doesn't look like it has a ton of traffic, but still, it's a different group of people that listen to Larry Smith and listen to Boiled Sports. And so I went on there at the 29-minute and 40-second mark is when I start talking, and talking about the USC game, talking about this season so far, talking about some of Purdue's limitations and whatever. If you want to listen to that, great. You may want to listen to it on the way up to Purdue tomorrow. I know a lot of people like to do that on their drive to God's country. So Sports IQ with Larry Smith on wherever you get podcasts, and it starts at the 29-minute and 40-second mark. Tons of typos in there. The way they spelled Boiled Sports made all of us laugh at BS. So just something else to listen to. Okay, now let's talk about what I came to talk about, and this is the biggest thing. Well, it sounds like my voice is changing. Was the Field of 68's big visit to West Lafayette, to Mackey. And if you didn't get to watch it, I would highly suggest you go watch it. You can get your own thoughts on it, but I'm going to tell you what I thought, what stood out to me. I thought it was really, really fun, really interesting. It kept me from eating lunch. I still haven't eaten lunch because I started that, and then I got into kind of gathering my notes and then getting started here. But so Jeff Goodman, Rob Doster, they were live from Mackey. Pretty cool to see. So one thing that I really liked right from the jump is Jeff Goodman said that the quote that Doster had said, Purdue has the national championship or bust. I thought Goodman got it right, and I'll revisit that here in a second. But I thought he got it right because when I think of bust, I think it means it's all over. If you don't get a national title, it's all over. But as we saw in this, hour and a half show, you saw that Purdue's players and Purdue's coaches are simply very, very aware of the fact that everybody sees them as one of, if not the best team in the nation. It's an interesting thing for Purdue fans to deal with and wrestle with, the fact that you've got I've talked about this is a new role. It's a new role for Purdue to be truly a preseason elite team and then be a team that everybody's hunting. It's different. It's a different place to be. And so just like a couple years ago when Purdue would stumble, when they'd lose, everybody rushed the court, right? One thing Fletch Lawyer talked about is he remembers back his freshman year. These guys have been through it. TKR, Smith, and Fletch specifically have been through it. And so he talks about here in a second. I'll tell you what I took from his part of the interview, which I thought his was maybe you had Fletch, TKR, Meyer, Smith, and Painter all talk to the guys at Field of 68. Lots of fun, lots of good stuff to take away from it. But I thought Fletch's segment was really interesting for some reason. Maybe I was just more tuned in. I don't know. One thing that was really interesting, Paul Lusk calls TKR and Clough together as the duo, the Bash Brothers, the reference to the Oakland A's when they had Canseco and McGuire playing. I thought that was funny because I think he's just saying, and these are dudes. These are two dudes. And I thought about one of them wrecks you on the glass and on the defensive side. The other one wrecks you on the offensive side. TKR has been unstoppable according to all the accounts. Doesn't matter who they put on him, TKR is scoring. It's not surprising because we saw his offensive prowess, but it might be a little more surprising that neither Clough nor Jacobson is much of a speed bump, it sounds like. But maybe he's got more in his bag. Just working hard in the offseason has paid off for TKR. One thing I thought was really weird, really cool. Again, we had these moments the last few years. When Purdue got to number one first, was that 4 years ago? It was surreal for me because I was like, okay, I've been a Purdue fan my whole life. I'm 50 now. I was 46 then. And just hearing people say things where you put Purdue in a truly elite class always grabs my attention, always gets my attention still. Hasn't gotten old. And so Doster said Purdue could be could be as good as the 2022 UConn team. They could be that team is what he said. And that team was dominant. And so that's a heavy mantle for a team to wear. I think these guys are ready for it. And they all know it. They all know it. He said right off he starts the interview, when Goodman starts off the interview, he said that Doster has called Fletch foster lawyer multiple times. And I said, well, that's one of the plight of having a good big brother and having a brother that's noteworthy, right? So something we can all, if you're the younger brother, you've been through that. But I think my wife, somebody in my family keeps calling him Foster, which is funny because they don't really even know foster lawyer, but they keep calling him. I don't know if it's my wife or somebody else. But Fletch also said he calls himself the emotional leader of the team right now, or he's been very emotional, trying to gather guys up in practice, get them to learn. He said he's put on some weight. The funny thing is he's still thin. I mean, I'm going to be honest. I'm not going to snow anybody. And he still looks so young. That's the thing. It's crazy. 4th year on campus. It'll be, I don't know how many starts that he and Smith have had in a row, but he's a veteran. He's a grizzled veteran at this point, and he still looks so young in the interview. During the interview, it was funny. In the background, Clough and Jacobson were both doing some of those drills that Zach Edey may have made famous for many of us who got interested in big man drills during the time when Zach Edey was there for some reason. But watching them do it, it looked almost like it was sped up. I was really impressed with the quickness of Clough, who was right behind Lawyer. He looks better than he did a month ago, if I'm being real honest, in the practice videos that had come out. That was cool to me. It was neat to see. Let's see. Fletch offered some perspective on season rankings, preseason number 1 or whatever. And he said the whole team their eyes are wide open to these rankings, and they understand that this isn't the most important thing. But he also remembers back when he was a freshman, he said, hey, we might be kind of good when he looked ahead at those rankings. So a lot of perspective. These 3 guys, you cannot discount the fact that TKR and Smith and Lawyer have been through this. They have been through the pressure. They have been through the disappointment, And I think that really matters to this team. And they look like they're taking it in stride. They're enjoying it, but they don't look arrogant to me anyway. So when Fletch also talked about his relationship with Smith, it still seems like, I think those guys have always been pretty good buddies, but it sounds like they're in lockstep. Really good to hear two captains that way. And he also talked about CJ and Jakari being able to pick guys up at 94 feet. And that's kind of how they're making the difference in practice. Their defense has been intense. And I think that's going to be a really important role for this team, because I think one of the biggest question marks for this team as you head in, it's not going to be the offense. Painter said they want to be the number one offense in America, which is crazy talk. But it's the fact that this defense was so beleaguered last year, right? And a lot of the parts return. So a lot of these guys were part of the problem where you couldn't rebound, you couldn't defend when you really need to. Now you got some extra parts. It's going to help, but it sounds like those guys have turned things up. Let's see. Fletch also talked about this. They have two starting fives, and Painter said he thinks either starting five could make the NCAA tournament. That's pretty major talk, and I'm going to wait. I'm going to trust Paint's judgment, number one. But the second thing, I'm going to wait till I see everything and see these guys coming off the bench. One big takeaway that I had, these guys continue to be likable. It didn't matter who was talking. They all have very different personalities, unique guys. They're their own men. They're not robots. But I like this team, and it's really easy to get behind a team that has this many people that you're like, oh gosh, man, they're in an era that I'm having a harder and harder time to love college sports because of the fragmented nature of teams. I still like this team a lot. And one of the guys I like the most is TKR. Hearing TKR talk every single time, I'm always amazed at how level-headed he is, how different he is, how he is his own guy. And I really like him. He's a philosophy major. If you didn't know that, I heard from a Purdue student that one of the professors in the philosophy department watches this show, and I appreciate it. If you're listening, I don't know your name, but I appreciate it, and I think that's really, really cool. I love hearing that real people at the school think that this show is important. I think that's good. We've tried to stay as connected as we could to Purdue, and I think that's fun just being a part of it. But TKR he seems like the real one to me. I like the guy so much when I hear him talk, and I could listen to him in interviews all day long just because of the nature of the thoughtfulness of his speaking. So then Omer Meyer came on, and he said he's a natural point guard, in case any of you wondered, or if you had not watched international play. He says he's a natural point guard. But he's excited to play the two alongside Smith. So a lot of the questions many have had is, is he going to come off the bench to spell Smith only? No, the plan is that they'll play on the court together. They'll both be able to create. Fletch and TKR and even Braden all talked about the idea how nice it would be to be able to have Braden off ball sometimes so he can be a more creative offensive player. That's going to be neat to see. It's going to be very different. I don't think we've really seen that at all. So that's a different look, and they're already starting to get used to it. They also talked about how Omer Meyer at times, Braden Smith said this, that Omer Meyer at times has come up and apologized for not being up to speed, not understanding everything. And Smith just said, it's all right, man. It's all right. Things are going to take time. Those two are getting along really, really well. That was good to see. Braden Smith, I thought it was very interesting. His tattoo has grown, has gotten bigger, but it's gotten filled in. And if you've ever gotten a tattoo, some of them take a second, third, fourth sitting, and that it looks like tropical leaves. I can't really figure it out. On his left forearm, that got my attention. What else? Paint came on, and he looks tan. Matt Painter looks tan. He said he's been to like 20 something baseball games. I think most of them were Cubs related. Either the Cubs were the home or the away team. Been to different venues. Loves baseball. He said he and his wife gone to a lot of games. And okay, now let's get into the deeper stuff in college basketball, stuff that you may care about. One of the biggest ones was he talked about he wants the rules generally to be clearer. He doesn't think there's enough transparency by the NCAA telling everybody what to do, how to do it, that sort of thing, and how they're coming about rules. He said, things need to get done quickly. I think it feels like we've been in flux if you're a fan of college sports for years. It feels like nothing is settled. And I think that's a hard thing if you're a person like me, because you like the base of where it was 5-7 years ago, and you worry about where it lands. I still worry. I still am bothered by what college football and basketball could become since things aren't settled in. But one thing Painter really says he wants to see a salary cap. He didn't say salary, he just said a cap. They don't want to use the word salary. He's very savvy in that way, but he wants to see a cap. And then Doster and Goodman both kind of pushed him on different things. And this was, I think, the most important or interesting part of the interview. He's referenced this before, but he was very, very transparent here. His quote was, "Every day is Halloween in college basketball." And what he was saying, and then he went further, he said, so many coaches in the league, or so many coaches in college basketball are wearing costumes, always playing a role, always being fake. And then he went a little bit further and dug in and said, how there are even parents and players who, like, they're in too. They're playing a role. And he talked about one thing that Purdue does is they don't play that game. And you love to hear it. For me, to be somebody genuine all the time, to be who I look like on this, and when you meet me to be the same guy, is something I strive to be. Maybe it's a slightly different thing. And I think it's the same thing for these guys. In public, they want to appear like they actually are. And he says you lose some you lose some recruiting battles by being honest and not making promises that you can't keep. But he said when you don't lose the guy, you have a guy that's part of the program for a long time. And that leads into this wonderful culture that has become so strong at Purdue, where players help players. And Braden Smith said he's never had a guy on the roster that he's hated in his 4 years. I think it's a bigger deal than you might think. If you've never played sports, you may not understand that. You just think, okay, there's 12 guys playing on the same team, everybody gets along. No, it's not true. And if you've ever played on a team where you don't like somebody, which I have many times when I was younger, and even when I was older, playing old man church ball, you're like, it's not a good thing. It's really hard to be a good team and look past that, especially for somebody like me who's got opinions on everything. So I thought that was very, very cool. Let's see. So back to how I started this. When Goodman said that he thought Doster was out of line by saying natty or bust, Painter said true. He thinks it's true that it's national championship or bust for this team. Again, another kind of a bomb being dropped on your head if you're a Purdue fan was that moment. Because you're like, okay, everybody is embracing this role. It's a pretty big deal to say, okay, our goal is national championship. And you heard it sprinkled throughout the interviews, regardless of the player talking, it's on the marker board, national championship. This is what this team is focusing on. And another thing, I can't remember which one of them said, but they said, if you stumble, if you fall, the big thing you want to do is you want to work towards that natty. You still, even if things don't go perfectly, you want to work towards that national championship. I thought that was very interesting that Painter has embraced that, and I think it's a big deal. And that's about all I took from it. That's it. I've just talked for 22 straight minutes, well, really about 18 straight minutes, just about a show about Purdue basketball. And some of you guys are here live. Ted Berkey's here. How are you, Ted? Good afternoon. Marshall Briggs is here. Same to you, afternoon. I don't think you're going to the game this week, Marshall, because you had a long trip, but hopefully you'll be back this season. I think you said you'll be back this season, but we'll have to connect at some point. Doug and Angie Latta, boiler up. Melissa Hunt, how are you? Happy Friday to you as well. Not be down. I know it's something when we type the N, it's the D. Greg Manis says, hey there, how are you? I think Greg can tell me. I think I'm going to see Greg tomorrow. So I'm excited about that. Greg and I get to see each other about once a year, it seems. So hopefully tomorrow at the game, I think it's this week that he'll be in town. Jay Westfall, hammer down to you as well. Motor City Boiler says, I smell big win coming up tomorrow. I love the confidence. Great meeting you a couple weeks ago. I think it was 2 weeks ago. I love the confidence, and I think a lot can play into it. But I think the big thing Purdue's got to do is they've got to control the clock in the first half, not let the game get out of hand in the first half. I think that is a big key, because I don't think this team has it in them to make a comeback yet. I've thought about this a lot, because the way the offense is built, right, it's about clock management, running the ball. On the other side, the defense really wants to stop the run. And then those defensive backs, they're going to have great efforts. Tremendous efforts tomorrow. So Purdue can keep the game close in the first half. I think you have a chance. And then you got to say, okay, can you stay with the horses in the second half? Like I said, I have declared my concern about this game, and I hope Motor City Boiler's right and I'm wrong. We'll see. But I did pick this as an upset. Like I said, I'm not going to back off of it. Sure, Purdue's going to upset USC, but I am not confident. I'm not as confident as I was weeks ago before I saw both products when I made the decision to call this one a potential upset. So Benjamin Pagano says, well, for not having anything to say, you sure said it well. Thanks. Appreciate it. I didn't know how to say it, Ben. And that's it. It's still, it's hanging heavy over me. So, yeah, I appreciate that. Appreciate it a lot. Melissa Hunt said, I was talking with my parents last night about everything that happened this week. And she said, this is your 9/11. I was 9 when 9/11 happened. I didn't get it. But at 34, I get this one. I would say, so 9/11 is a different animal, right? Because it's an attack on U.S. soil. And I don't want to get into geopolitics too much. So different. And just like 9/11, though, I understand the point is that you saw it unfold. We saw way too much on both days, on 9/10/2025 and on 9/11/2001. We saw too much. And I mean that. I don't think we're geared to see things like that. I don't think we're geared to see human life being lost. I think it's too much. It's too much for me. I can speak about myself first. That's the biggest thing. It's too much for me, especially if there's any relatability at all. And on 9/11, I had a lot of relatability points. With Charlie Kirk, I had watched his podcast. Not all the time. It wasn't like appointment television for me. I always have a TV in my office, but it was rotational. I would watch it sometime. Yeah, too much for me. So, Ben Dover says, been ready for basketball season since the Houston game, unfinished business. Thank you for breaking up the heaviness with just the username. I appreciate that. But yeah, I agree. And it's funny, a lot of Purdue fans feel exactly like you two. Cannot wait until the tip-off. Dustin Schutte, he reported today that the cheapest ticket to get into Rupp Arena for the exhibition game versus Kentucky is $200 and on Vivid Seats. I think it goes up to like $350 for different ticket brokers. So this season's different, right? And if you go and you look at Vivid Seats, I've done it and I've looked ahead. Okay, how about this game? Could I get in this game? I want to buy tickets in December for my family. You're going to be paying $350 a pop for regular season games. So yeah, it's going to be a fun season. Marshall Briggs says, he's number 3. King says, the humility of this basketball team is remarkable and refreshing. I agree. Continues, says, I'll be back home for the bucket game. Excellent. Continues again, says, one of my coworkers is an Illini fan and pulling for our Boilers to take down USC tomorrow as a favor. Yeah, that's. I think that's Purdue is always in the business of favors for Ohio State. No doubt about it. Or Illinois. Sorry. I don't know what happened there in my brain. Yeah, I always want to help Illinois. That's my, as a Purdue fan, that's my number one goal. Help Illinois. I think USC, they have a 2-week road trip to the Midwest. I think it's Purdue than Illinois, and because I did look at their schedule, but I'm not positive about it. If you heard Cobra Stats, he said that it had been like 4,500 days since USC had won a game in the Eastern time zone. And it reminded us Purdue is in the Eastern time zone. So I don't know if that stat is bulletproof this week, but it's noteworthy. It's noteworthy. And it's so noteworthy that Lincoln Riley said they have changed a lot about how they're traveling because they're trying to figure it out too. Remember, this is new stuff to everybody, to go west or to go east. And the West Coast teams did struggle, except for Oregon. They did a pretty damn good job handling it. Brian T says, just saw you were on, joining late from Tampa Bay, Florida. Beautiful. We'll go back and listen. Thank you for doing what you do. Thank you, Brian. Thanks for being here. And it's funny. We have like kind of Florida-esque weather right now. It's pretty here. It's not as hot or humid as it is where you are right now, but it's pretty damn pretty. I think I would get not much done if I had really pretty weather all the time. because I'm very easily distracted. Bendover says, well said in the light of recent events. I appreciate your genuine human take on the stuff. Hard to find that online. Yeah, I don't know what to say. I wish I did. I wish I was wiser. And I mean that. I pray for that. But this was a hard week. I think that's it. I'd call that almost a quick cast. I'm not going to change the title because it's been 29 minutes, been 30 minutes. So it's a little bit over where I like the quick cast to be, which, as you know, if you've been around here very long, a 20-minute quick cast, a 21-minute quick cast, that's a tall order for me. And so relatively good. Go back and watch the Field of 68 interview with Matt Painter and company from Mackey Arena. Totally worth it. And get ready for tomorrow. Have a great day, everybody. Hammer down. God bless you. We will see you soon. My post game will be later because I'm in person. And then we'll get on to a little bit of a rhythm for the next, 3 weeks until Purdue heads back home for the Illinois game. But this week, again, it's going to be a delayed post game unless I can convince one of my BS cohorts to jump on, which is tough sale sometimes. Talk to you soon. God bless you. Late.